Hi, my name is Lily, and today I wanted to do a video that's focusing on sexual energy, predators that are after that sexual energy, and healing regarding those kinds of things. I have a couple books that I read by David Elliot that I think are very insightful. He talks about healing, Reiki, chakras, spiritual stuff, and creativity. And David is a practicing energetic healer, and through his experiences, he has written several books on what he has learned about in his practices. His intention of writing these books was to awaken the healer in all of us. And so I wanted to talk about one of the sections in his book called Reluctant Healer. It's on the sacral chakra, or the second chakra, which deals with sexuality, emotions, money, food, and creativity. I wanted to focus on some of the information about sexual energy and predators. He defines a predator as an energy, person, family, or group that takes from others or destroys others for gain. A sexual predator uses sexual energy to accomplish this. He also refers to this as dark energy. Sexual abuse happens when sexual energy is used to take clarity, energy, and control away from a victim. It is carried and perpetuated by a predator type of energy. This energy can be a person, family, or group. The predator is compelled to use sexual energy to possess and dominate a weaker victim. Predators are skilled and often aggressive, determined, and persistent about their intent to abuse people sexually. The second chakra is the easiest way for the predator to enter another person's energy field. It's the difference between the love of power, which is the sacral chakra, versus the heart chakra, which is called the power of love. That's what David calls it in his book. Sexual abuse energy can get stuck within the physical, emotional, mental, or spiritual levels of a person's consciousness. It's not just physical, and it can take on a psychic quality in which it gets woven into the person's subconscious matrix of who they think they are. It's a very tricky energy and very snake-like. It has the ability to camouflage itself very discreetly. Having this type of energy stuck in your body and psyche, it can subconsciously attract these types of repeating circumstances or people into your life in which they're wanting to siphon your energy. This can be being attracted to people who end up wanting to have sex very quickly in a dominating or manipulative way, or having these people typically finding you and seeking you out. Predators have a sixth sense for people lacking energetic boundaries, and they pick up on it and they know how to exploit it. They take on the role of someone with power. They are highly skilled and take the upper hand because they're operating at a spiritual-like realm when they do this. They will often use manipulative language, like something like "no one will love you the way I do" type of thing. This energy can be passed through and exists in a lot of families. The parent passes it to the children, and the children can pass it to other siblings or other children and continue to pass it on to other people as they get older if they continue to stay in this energy and they don't address it or heal it or realize what's going on. This can also manifest in hypersexuality, in which you are the person always wanting to have sex very quickly with other people. This can turn into a repeating pattern if that's always what you have known in regards to dating or abuse. It can become a self-fulfilling prophecy. That is what you expect from others, and so that's why it keeps manifesting in your life. It can turn into projecting that energy onto other people. That's why typically people who are abusers have been abused themselves and are perpetuating those cycles of abuse. Psychic sexual abuse is seductive because it's about the love of power. They're trying to recapture that energy that was once taken from them. It's important to recognize this behavior in yourself before it takes over too far. David has a passage in his book where he poses the question, are you a predator? And it helps the reader to address if they have ever been one to project this energy onto others. I have seen before where people will act in ways that are coercive or manipulative to get a person to have sex with them, but they don't consider themselves to have been a rapist or have assaulted them. A common misconception of rape is that it is a stranger forcibly holding you down in a dark alleyway, when reality is it's normally someone you know, someone you thought you could trust, violating your boundaries, not caring how you actually feel, but getting caught up in their own dominating sexual energy. They don't consider that they can be acting in a predatory fashion. They see it as persuasion or having game. This can happen to men and women, but the reasons behind it can be slightly different. There is this old idea, concept, whatever, that if a woman refuses sex, it's a challenge and you're supposed to keep going because she secretly wants it. This is less commonly socially acceptable nowadays, but it's still in a lot of people's unconscious, subconscious, or the collective consciousness, and it affects their sexual behavior and attitudes towards sex. Due to the false idea implanted back in the day that a woman isn't supposed to want to have sex. This is also very problematic when you dive deeper into the psychology that men used to be encouraged to act in this manipulative and predatory fashion. And if she really wants to have sex with you, it's a turn off to them. And now she's somehow a slut because she actually wants to have sex with you. This has all been part of the suppression of the feminine shadow and sexual energy and power that has been going on since the patriarchal structure of our society has been active. The consciousness in our brains has been geared towards and dominated by masculine energy, and thus has manifested in this toxic shadow side of the masculine energy that needs to be dug up, acknowledged, released, and healed in the collective. For heterosexual people, for women, sometimes they can be too forward in assuming that a man wants to have sex with her because men always want to have sex. This is not the case, and especially nowadays, sometimes men can be too scared to speak up if they don't want to have sex with you or hurt the other person's feelings, feel like due to those societal expectations, he has to go through with it. This sometimes happens to teenage boys who are encouraged to engage in sexual acts by older male influence or even older female influence to continue perpetuating this toxic masculinity culture. There is a collective evolution going on right now where men are becoming more sexually disciplined and not engaging in casual sex as much, and even abstaining from porn because they're recognizing the harmful effects that porn has had on us as a society, and recognizing that focusing your energy, regardless of gender, on yourself instead of on other people or on that kind of thing, it's leaving a lot more time and energy to work on yourself and your goals. And so I see that a lot happening on the internet. Not everybody, obviously, but I see it a lot more than you used to. There is benefit to conserving sexual energy, and then you can channel into other things. I actually saw a little video the other day of NLE Choppa, who is a rapper, and he was actually talking about this and how to physically do it in your body and like how to channel that energy. And I don't know where that video is, but I saw it out there. And that's definitely interesting and unexpected because, you know, I feel like normally you don't see a lot of people talk about that, especially in like the entertainment industry, but like especially rappers, or young rappers, I should say, because I think he's pretty young. I think he's like 23. So that's nice because he's, you know, it's nice for him to say that to his fans, to his people out there watching him, because then they can know about it, right? Spread the word. So that's cool that he's evolved in that way, and sharing it. Psychic sexual abuse often happens in addition to the physical sexual abuse, or it can happen independently of it. In other words, a predator might be using sexual energy to control someone through emotional, mental, or spiritual ways, such as teasing, threatening, controlling, or suppressing behavior. This energy can also be partly why some people in toxic or abusive relationships have such a hard time getting out of it. The sexual energy can make you feel drained, trapped, and hopeless, especially if there is a previous history of abuse in like someone's past, and it's digging the same wound that caused the initial darkness to come over the psyche. So these patterns can keep people stuck and getting involved with similar abusive people until they're able to break free and move the energy out of the body and begin to heal. This dynamic can cause you to feel very afraid and yet addicted to them sexually. Even if a predator doesn't physically abuse you, the way they make you feel can be very unsettling. This can be the way they go about talking to you, staring at you, projecting that energy onto you, even if you're a family member and even if you are a minor. Girls deal with this a lot, not just girls, but I feel like a lot of girls have this where they were sexualized from a young age from strangers, but even like as people in their family. And it's always where like an older male family member typically will sexualize them or project this energy onto them as a child or teenager, even if they don't physically do anything to them. It's just that weird vibe. And it's more unfortunate when the women of the family perpetuate this weird behavior by saying, put on longer pants because your uncle is coming by, instead of keeping the home a safe environment and free of people who are blaming their inappropriate sexual feelings on the attire of a child. This can be a very difficult situation, especially if you are abused and your family refuses to acknowledge it or says you're making it up. It can really make you feel crazy. And that is still very common in society, where people are quick to say women who were assaulted were making it up or that they actually wanted it. And this can really dig the knife deeper into distorting your own perception of reality. This confusion can be a magnet that keeps attracting this abuse into your life. And I don't mean that in a blame yourself kind of way. I say it because if you keep experiencing these type of things and having similar predator people come into your life, then you have to address the trauma within and work to heal it. The darkness inside of you that you are suppressing will keep manifesting in your life until you deal with it. And that's all kinds of darkness, not just sexual abuse. You attract what you need to learn. So people who turn into pedophiles, they often get addicted to porn and they keep needing more and more messed up material to get off, basically. And it's not doing it for them anymore. And so they try to seek out the real thing. There's actually a video of Ted Bundy talking about this, and where he highlights sexual violence in porn molded him and molds others like him, especially the ones who ended up addicted to this type of graphic material. It programs their subconscious. They pair this seductive sexual energy with violence against other people or children. David talks about in his book, sometimes you don't remember physical abuse happening in your life, at least consciously. Unconsciously, the body always remembers. It's there. If you experience symptoms like constipation problems, low sex drive, feeling extremely vulnerable around sex with partners, reoccurring dreams of being abused, feeling shut down or disempowered, around sex and you don't have a recollection of physically being abused, then your sexual energy may have been thrown out of balance due to emotional, mental, or spiritual reasons. I'm going to list some of the symptoms of psychic sexual abuse that David personally has come across in his healing sessions that then manifested into certain behaviors or ailments. And it's kind of a long list, but I think it's important to mention it because I don't think people realize that this stuff is connected. So, starting list. If you attract sexual abuse as an adult, if you're addicted to pornography, addicted to cocaine in conjunction with pornography, excessive sexual appetite, little or no sexual appetite, pelvic area problems, as these are all associated with second or sacral chakra ailments that can manifest with this trauma. It's your body trying to communicate that you need healing with your sexual energy in that chakra center. So with ovaries, testicles, prostate, reproductive organ issues such as cancer, cysts, endometriosis, impotency, negative imbalances acted out in destructive ways, especially in extreme aggressive or addictive behavior, consistent dreams about sexual abuse and violence, extremely overweight, bulimia, sugar addiction, erratic emotional behavior, sexual promiscuity, predator tendencies like sexual attraction to young children, sexual fantasies that involve taking another person's power away, attracting inappropriate sexual encounters with strangers, hips and pelvis turn inwards, severe PMS, depression, and constipation. So, if you have any or several of these symptoms, it does not ultimately point to having psychic sexual abuse, but if you know you have dealt with people who projected that energy onto you in some way, then these may be symptoms that you're still harboring that energy within and it's causing these physical issues in your body. So David's point of view in the book, he says, I believe in destiny and that on a soul level, you've already agreed to the events that happen in this lifetime. Sexual abuse incidents could be connected to a predator energy that has been following you around for several lifetimes. This type of connection would be intense and mainly sexually based, and even though you knew it was destructive, you couldn't get enough, essentially. Normally, with these types of connections, there is an instant attraction. This is for, like, adults, like, not if this was, like, happened when you were a child. This is, like, these types of relationships as an adult and meeting other adults where this is going on. So yeah, normally there's an instant attraction. This dynamic can make you feel like you're hooked on someone's energy and you have no willpower. This energy is not love, even though it may feel like love. Sometimes the sexual energy of another person can continue to reside in someone else, especially if there was trauma with it. This distinction can be seen and separated during an energetic healing session. It can be very tricky as the person can be addicted to how that sexual energy moves through them and keeps them stuck in the sacral chakra. David describes the magnitude and power of this sexual energy by saying the three most powerful energies that affect humans are sexual abuse, heroin addiction, and manic depression. They can take on this type of possession within your body, your psyche, everywhere, and it becomes embedded into who you are. Some people go to therapy for years to try and address these issues mentally or logically, and they still don't make much progress. And this is because the energy can get stuck in your physical body. An energetic healer that knows this energy and how to work with it can help clear it and get it out of there. This highlights the misconceptions the West has made with medicine and not looking at the whole body entirely to address certain symptoms. I expect in the future people will be paying more attention to these types of energetic blockages and how they can cause the symptoms that people will write off as outside of themselves, genetic or fated causes, when really it could be an imbalance emotionally, energetically, mentally that has caused the symptoms. Even with astrology, there is an entire branch that deals with medicine and illness in the body, and there are indications for what you're more susceptible to in the birth chart and health issues in general, and sometimes there can be remedies in the chart for treatment that may not be physical medicine. It can show you how doing things differently may bring healing and relief of your symptoms. Illness in the body is trying to tell you a message. If you ignore it, it will get worse. If you just treat the symptoms, there probably isn't going to be much improvement of the root cause. Oftentimes, people's physical ailments get better after a Reiki or energetic healing session, because the issue was not a physical problem but an energetic problem. People tend to be disconnected from their body if they are suppressing things, so that pain is trying to get your attention. When doing an energetic healing, you're more in your body than you were before, and this can cause an emotional release when you get these types of healings, or even doing like breath work. There is a major awakening going on right now in the world with the collective, and I expect in the future more medical professionals and hospitals will be using astrology and energy healing as well as standard medical treatments. These things are not opposite, but together would be very beneficial in helping people heal as a whole. That might be a little far-fetched right now for people, but it's one of my little things I see for the future. It's only a matter of time. You know, there's correlations in astrology that make sense, make a lot of sense. Like, it'll catch on. In David's books that he has written, he has a lot of exercises for healing these types of issues, all kinds of issues, and even more insight about them. So if you feel like you could benefit, you should totally get them. So that is all I have for this video today. Thank you so much for watching.